example. We need to protect kids. That should be easy, low-hanging fruit.
In a public announcement this week, the FBI warned that artificial intelligence is being used to harass victims or force extortion. The agency says reports continue to come in from victims who say their photos and videos were technologically altered into explicit content.
AI is no longer the province of computer scientists. Anybody can use it, and there are going to be both good and bad uses that come out of it.
As its prevalence expands, more industry experts are calling for regulation.
AI is already here. It's in wide use across industries and society, and it is fast shaping our future. The time is right to ensure that the right laws and policies are in place to enable that future.
The Senate is expected to host 3 bipartisan briefings on artificial intelligence in the coming weeks as it tries to address the technology's influence. In Washington, Val Rivera, Fox News.
Chain to remove some Pride merchandise from store shelves, and in some locations, moving displays from the front of stores to the back. In a statement Tuesday, the company cited safety concerns, saying, "Since introducing this year's collection, we've experienced threats impacting our team members' sense of safety and well-being while at work. Given these volatile circumstances, we are making adjustments to our plans, including removing items that have been at the center of the most significant confrontational behavior." Minister Nicole Collins lived as a lesbian for 20 years. She says in a culture that embraces LGBTQ ideals, Christians can make a difference. Today, she runs a Christian clothing line featuring the rainbow.
The Lord literally showed me a vision, and I saw a hand clutching the rainbow in the clouds, and I saw the words inscripted, "Take back the rainbow."
As the battle over this and other issues continue, many stress that violence is never the answer and should be condemned. Collins encourages believers instead pray for the LGBTQ community.
God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son. He died for the homosexual, he died for the transgender, but that's why we need to be born again. And so I think that the church just needs to be that pillar. We've got to show love without compromising.
Cook agrees.
Every day during Pride Month, we should all as Christians be praying for people to get saved out of that life, just like God did with me.
Well, we are going to pray about that, and I love that line, "Take back the rainbow." But first, want to talk about what happened in India. The death toll stands now at 275, with hundreds more injured. This after a 3-train crash Friday in India. Look at this. It's one of the
there's a lot of anxiety and a lot of just searching for meaning and purpose in life, and they're looking for God, and whether they know it or not, they're searching in a lot of different ways, and a lot of it is leading them into roads that are dead end, and that's how we felt, being raised in a fairly moral home and a church-going home. The whole hippie movement swept. It was so intriguing and so alluring for me because it had this promise of a deeper purpose and meaning and spirituality, which I wasn't seeing in the established church I was attending. And so I think that search for something more than just the material world that we're living in is really, it's something that God puts in our hearts. But I think the times in which we're living in, where all of that talk of God and the Bible and Scripture and a firm grid, a moral grid in our lives is just swept away, that deep within our hearts and deep within kids' hearts today, I do think they are searching. It may not look like it, just like it didn't look like we were searching for God when we're experimenting with LSD. And I think there's a parallel there. There's a lot of division in the country, a lot of political division, a lot of breaking up of families and homes, that kids and people are finding themselves to be desperate. And there's a line that Chuck Smith said when Greg asked him one time. Chuck Smith is one of the characters in this movie, the older pastor who saw the Jesus Revolution. Greg says, "Chuck, do you think you'll ever see another one?" And Chuck said, "I don't know that we are desperate enough." That was about how long ago? 7 years ago?
Or a little bit longer.
I think we
and the first time we've hit the 5 billion threshold since the end of 2019. Stocks finishing mixed on Wall Street Wednesday. The Dow rose while the S&P 500 and NASDAQ closed lower. Some possible good news for anyone looking to buy a car this summer. Cox Automotive says wholesale prices for used vehicles, the price dealers pay before selling to consumers, fell 2.7% in May. And when compared to the same time last year, prices are down 7.6%. A recent drop in sales is a big reason why. And finally, with Father's Day around the corner, here's something to keep in mind if you haven't bought a present yet. A new survey by the Manly Man Company is revealing the worst gifts that dads say they've gotten in the past. The top answers were nothing, a tie, and socks. That's a look at business. I'm Garrett Tenney.
Of trouble in May.
AI talks are once again dominating Congress, but Republicans and Democrats don't agree on how to regulate it. Today, Senator Josh Hawley proposed a plan to change that. Some of the measures include enforcing age limits on use and protecting personal data. In a public announcement this week, the FBI warned that AI is being used to harass victims of sextortion. The agency says some victims have reported photos and videos were technologically altered into explicit content.
AI is no longer the province of computer scientists. Anybody can use it, and they're going to be both good and bad uses.
Tiara Davis, Jericho Williams, and DeMarcus Timmons all face several charges, including armed robbery. Authorities are still looking for the getaway driver.
Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas is considering impeaching Mayorkas over his handling of the U.S. border with Mexico. Both have testified before other Republican-led panels in this Congress, but these hearings will likely be much tougher.
Ukraine is now facing a water crisis after a dam was blown up earlier this week. President Volodymyr Zelensky is warning that hundreds of thousands of people could soon lose access to drinking water. Residents in southern Ukraine continue to evacuate the floodwaters in the area. U.S. officials are still investigating who's behind the dam breach, but believe Russia is responsible.
They blew up a dam to basically disrupt a nuclear power plant, to dislocate thousands of people. And this is all going to play out for the American people in the world in the next days. And it's going to be intense, I can tell you that.
The dam's destruction has drawn condemnation from around the world due to the civilian and environmental impacts.
Congress has yet to figure out a way to regulate